daily stresses of life, that we can work productively, that we're able to make a contribution to our families and our communities. So when you look at that definition, I think you'll agree that we all work with our clients on that mental health spectrum, right? In terms of coping and better coping and creating new neural pathways and developing new behaviors and attitudes so that we can be fully who we truly are. I think that, you know, the area that is missing in much of coach education is looking at the social determinants of health, which are the conditions in which we are born, we grow, we live, we work, and we age. And that's different for everyone and for different communities within national borders, across national borders, and globally. And I think that, you know, that is where we need to be paying some attention in terms of how those social determinants of health impact us as individuals in our communities. And, you know, what we need to know as coaches is how to work within that, because it's not about only addressing the individual, it's about addressing systems. And I think that is where, you know, some of our work lies. So I'll leave it there for now.
Yeah, thank you. Let's address the systems, huh?
Yeah.
Goodness gracious, I know in our country we've got some work to do. In the United States. Well, thank you for sharing. That's gonna be a good breakout. Hey Jody.
Hello.
Welcome. You want to talk about what you'll be talking about?
Sure. Well, you know, I'm taking on the marketing, and I appreciate you asking me to do it, Jason. It's one of the things I dabble in for ACTO, as well as trying to run my own business. But having been offering virtual programs for many, many years, I just want to be able to share what's needed. So questions that come up for me is, how do you attract students to virtual training programs when they're accustomed to, well, wait a minute, everybody else I know trained with you and did it in person. And looking at what do we need to change as coach educators in our marketing approach. Because when you're shifting, it's not only transitioning your programs, it's transitioning sort of the philosophy behind what are you offering, how is it beneficial, and how do you let people know about the benefits of virtual training. I mean, I could spew it out, but that's because I do it. So I want to work with whoever's interested in coming in there and talking about where you feel stuck, and let's get you unstuck in that 30 minutes, hopefully.
Awesome, thanks, Jody. I'm Jason, and I'm going to take the technology piece, the virtual coach training piece. And I'm based in Fort Collins, Colorado, USA. And I got my this is my kind of new age cowboy shirt on today to represent the West. And technology has rapidly changed, as you know. And I think this whole pandemic thing has accelerated the use of technologies like what we're on today. And so part of the conversation that I hope to have is, what do we gain from using this technology, and what do we lose from being in person? And how do we make up for the difference? And so those are some of the conversations. I'm also curious about ways that you might be experimenting with different technologies and what's out there. And we'll find a path forward with this whole tech piece and virtual training piece. And so that's the conversation I hope to have in our breakout. So.
Hey, Jason, before you go further, a question came up about recording each breakout, which I know can be done if you give us permission to do that in our breakouts. Not that I know how to do it, but I know it's supposed to work.
Maybe I'll make you allow record. Yeah, thank you. I just hit a little button on your name that says allow record. We'll see if that works.
Okay.
Okay, Vikram.
Would you be willing to do the same for our group as well, if it's possible?
Yeah, I gave you that permission as well. So we'll learn something new today with Zoom. Mm-hmm. Maybe not. Okay, as far as my count, we've got 21 folks here. And so what I'd like to do is set up the breakout rooms. And so how I'd like to do this is that if you could raise your hand with each breakout, then I'll have you lower your hands and I'll put you in the room. And then when we have it all set, we'll zoom you off into your breakout. And so to raise your hand if you're on your computer, at the bottom of the screen, there's a reaction little button, and you can actually, yeah, maybe I don't know where the raise your hand is. Is it in that one?
Yes.
It's at
Yeah.
the bottom. It's at the bottom of the participants list.
Okay, you're right. Thank you. Come to the technology breakout with me, please. Thank you. It's at the bottom of the participants list. So you'll raise your hand. If you're on the phone, it's *9. All right. And so for the first group, who wants to be with Begum and Vikram in the mental health challenges group? If you want to be in there, please raise your hand and I will. This might take me a minute. Patrick, Deborah,
Moti.
Jessica.
Forgive me, since I came a bit late, this is Cynthia.
Hey,
would you
Cynthia.
just review our choices of which
Yes.
rooms we might go to so that we understand,
Yes.
so we can think? That'd be great. Thank you.
You came late to the party. I mean,
No thinking allowed here, Cynthia. Yeah, it's mental health challenges. The second one is marketing coach training in this new world. And the last one is virtual coach training skills, and also what are the technologies out there. So those are the 3 choices.
Thank you.
Good. Okay, so right now I'm assigning folks to the mental health challenges. Is there anybody else who wants to be in there?
Yes.
You had a couple
Moti
people
Kopes.
do this is Pat.
Okay.
You had a couple people do the thumbs up instead of raise their hand that wanted to be in this group. So you might remind them how to get the raise your hand part.
All right, here's who I have in the group. I have Ann Deaton, Deborah Meyer, Jessica, Molly, Gordon, Madi, and Patrick. Who else?
You said
Anybody else?
Deborah Meyer. Did you mean Deborah Miller? There's a
Yeah.
Meyer and a Miller for Deborah's.
Deborah Meyer.
Oh, okay. How about me?
You're
I'll
raising
volunteer
your
for that.
hand.
All right, I see your hand.
Thank you.
Okay. I got the wrong Deborah. Thank you for that. All right. One is the marketing one. Who wants? So hold on a second. If you could lower your hands if you were in that first group, that would be helpful.
Just a really quick question. Did we say we're trying to record each of them?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. Now, this is so much fun. Who wants to be in the marketing group? If you want to be in the marketing group, please raise your hand. Cool. Melissa. Anybody else? Okay. Jody, you want to be in that one? Thank you. All right. Anybody else in the marketing group? Last call. All right, you can lower your hand. So by default, that means the rest of y'all are going to be in the virtual training one with me. So again, let's have about a half an hour, and then I'll call you back, and you'll have about 60 seconds to get back into the room. So a half hour, and then again, as the moderator, either you can report back or somebody else in your group, if they want to, can report back. And we're just looking for what's emerging, what are the themes of your conversation, And so we'll have a report back when we come back. So here we go. Let's break it out. You should have a button that says join breakout rooms. Unless you're on the technology one, you'll just stay in this main room.
Where is that button?
I don't see that.
Which group do you want to be in?
If you're talking to me, I want to be in group 3, the virtual coach training.
Okay, you just stay here. Yeah.
All right.
There's no button for you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I wanted to be in with the mental health.
Okay. Let me get you there. There you go. Did it pop up?
There you go.
All right.
Hello.
I'm kind of glad there wasn't 57 people on today. That would have taken longer. All right. Welcome. So I count 9 of us on here, and I see 6, so that means there's 3 on the phone or audio, which is totally fine. Can we just do a quick who you are and where you're at today, and then we'll get started. And we'll start with Susan.
I'm Sue Sussman, and I'm in suburban Philadelphia.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And then
I'll go. I'm
Cynthia.
Cynthia Lloyd Darst. I'm in Los Angeles.
All right. Welcome.
Hi, this is Deborah. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri.
Hello, Deborah. Welcome.
Hello, everybody. My name is Frank Honjo, and I'm from Brazil, south of Brazil.
All right. Welcome. Wow.
I'm Håkan Schulert from Stockholm, Friday evening.
All right. Friday night. I can't wait till Friday night. So I hope it's good. All right. Who else do we have here? Beth.
Hi, I'm Beth Koch, and I'm in Tucson, Arizona, so it's morning.
Hey, Beth.
Hey.
Good to see you. I think I met you at a conference a couple years ago.
Yes, I remember.
Wonderful. Charlotte, hi. Oh, froze up on me.
Oh, she froze.
She froze. All right, anybody else who's on the phone want to say hello? Okay, well, that's fine too. All right, virtual training. I'm curious, of those here, who did virtual training before this whole thing? With the raise of your hand, yeah? Or half and half maybe, okay. Yeah, it's kind of accelerated it for us, I guess.
Well, and who's doing it now, right?
Yeah, who's doing it now? That was my next question. Yes. Okay.
Can I throw something else in there?
You may.
We're transitioning to the new competencies. So a lot of training is really changing anyway. And since it's changing, even for us folks who've been doing virtual training for years, we want to make it better and more fun and more, interesting, exciting.
Yep. A while back, I did some work, a thesis, and I studied the work of a guy by the name of Marshall McLuhan. Anybody familiar with that name?
Yes.
He's the fellow that coined the term, the medium is the message. And so he was kind of a technology critic, and some of his work, he has a book called The 4 Laws of Media, which media in his terminology is technology. But it really presented a way to look at technology and to ask critical questions about it. And what do you gain? What do you lose? What does technology enhance? What does it make obsolete? And so part of the conversation that I'm interested in having is, what are we noticing with the virtual training? What do we lose? What do we gain? How do we make up for what we lose, or can we? So I think I'd like to start there. So I know it's 3 questions, and as a coach, you're not supposed to ask multiple questions, but we're not coaching right now, and you can handle it. So, yeah. So, would anybody like to share what do you lose from not being in person, and what do you gain from using a technology like Zoom? Cynthia?
Sure. Well, the biggest thing that I see that we lose is people being able to hang out and get to know each other and create relationship and talk to each other at break and that kind of camaraderie. You know, just like at an ACTO conference, it's like I enjoy the sessions, but more than that, I enjoy having lunch and hanging out and getting to know people, you know. So that is somehow lost, and I want to learn how to mitigate that, how to create some kind of more space for that. And what's gained that has surprised us, I'm on the faculty of both CTI, the Coactive Training Institute, and CRR Global, which does relationship and team coaching. So at CTI, we've moved all of our courses online, and what people are appreciating is that they get to do their coach practice in breakout sessions where it's more intimate, where they can see one-on-one, they can hear each other better. And then when we take breaks, we don't need to take quite as long of a break because their bathroom's right here. There's no line.
So you gain more bathrooms. Yeah, that's interesting. So there's in some ways in practice there's an elevated level of intimacy.
Yeah.
But you lose kind of the spontaneous relationship development, whatever that is.
Right.
Yeah. Nice. I'm curious, anybody have any thoughts on how, because I would agree with you, Cynthia, on that piece. You know, it's those in-between spaces, you know, where our cohort, at least, where it really gels. So does anybody have, go ahead, Susan.
I've been doing virtual coach training for a long time.
Right.
And what I think really helps my program is that people do things together, not in class. They're working together outside of class. And I think that really helps to create relationship. And, you know, they've commented on actually how pleasantly surprised they are at how close they feel to the other members of the cohort.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Outside of class, you mean in breakout rooms, do you?
Yeah, I mean, they get together like to be study buddies.
Oh, yeah.
They get together to make recordings of them, you know, coaching one another.
Mm-hmm.
And it really enhances the both, you know, individual relationships and the group all relating to one another.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Nice.
I have a comment on what Cynthia just said about the hangouts that my people miss too. And when I heard that the first time was that I put them together randomly in breakout rooms on the coffee session. So they had someone to speak with while they had their coffees. And they quite liked that. But I mean, I don't do that all the time, but now and then. So they can chat with someone if they want to. I haven't done virtual training before, but what I really find helpful here is that it's so much easier to record things. to record my own demos, for instance. And it's not an extra burden to do that, and they really enjoy for me to do that and have it on Slack afterwards so they can go in and listen to it again. So I find that as a great advantage, really.
Yeah. Did I hear you use the word Slack?
Yeah. You're not familiar with that?
Oh, I am. You use it.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Cool. Yeah, thank you.
For those of us who aren't familiar with Slack, can you just say a word or two about it?
Go ahead.
Well, it's a forum where where I put out documents for people in channels, so they can go back and look up things afterwards. I communicate. Some people ask me to communicate everything that I do. They prefer to have it on Slack rather than email, so they can go back to one place and find it there, sorted in channels. And they have an option to discuss things in these channels as well, and add, like audio files, documents, everything, and they can communicate easily with each other as well. So it's quite handy.
Thank you.
Yeah. I see Cynthia shaking her head too, like she might be familiar with that tool.
I'm not sure that I pay anything for it either.
Yeah.
I know
Yes,
that.
I do.
So we use at CTI, we use Slack for our internal staff communication. It's fantastic. I know that some of our European cohorts have been using WhatsApp for their classroom as a way to be able to be in touch with each other. More in Europe and United Arab Emirates than other places so far.
Yeah, the UAE sometimes decides certain technologies are not okay. They just shut them down, right? Charlotte, you have your hand raised. Welcome. Do you have, maybe it looks like, you want me to lower it for you? Yeah.
Thank you. That was a delayed response. My internet was so bad. I finally put my hotspot on, so at least I can communicate with you all. So apologies around that. So yes, kind of jumping in here late. I'm in Pennsylvania, and I'll just add one piece that we do with we were already doing with our virtual cohorts, but now we've added that since all the training is virtual, is to build in some like non-agenda Q&A time with the facilitators. So those conversations that would typically happen out in the hallway or between sessions or at breaks, so that there's an opportunity for that to happen. And so we've just added those extra hours to the training time. So we throw in, every so often we're throwing in one of those Q&A sessions so that the students have an opportunity to be together in a with no agenda, no training, just open space.
Yeah, cool. Nice. Deborah, I think I saw your hand go up. Were you gonna?
Okay, yeah. So, I'm doing virtual training, the virtual classroom since 2011. And I was doing kind of like a hybrid approach, courses online and one course in person. So that was within the first year. Now I'm not doing anything in person because of COVID-19. I am just trying to think of just different approaches and different ways, different ideas and concepts and ways to transfer those kind of in-person interactions to online. So people can continue with their careers and setting up their own businesses and just continuing that experience. Just trying to be mindful that we can be really creative and trying to get those types of connections. It's it's tough. There's no more than 12 people on the screen at a time, so I can see everybody. And I have to just be mindful of that. You know, anything more, it's way too small. You don't have that connection anymore. You got to have a much bigger monitor if you want to add more people to your cohort. So it's nice to be able to see each person. So you just have to be creative in different ways of how we can benefit. And also the students can benefit from more effective trainers.
Yeah. Great. Thank you. Thanks for sharing. Wonderful conversation so far. So what do we gain? What do we lose with using, technology with like video? And Beth or Frank, do you have anything that you would like to add to the conversation?
Okay, I'm just listening to this forum today. I was invited to my mentor, and that's why here, just listen really. Okay?
All right, welcome. Welcome.
Yeah, I do not coach train. I'm a coach at a company. So one of the questions I had for you was, when you're doing your training, are you now spreading it out instead of 1 week where you fly into Orlando and you take your training for a week? Can you now do, let's say, every Monday and then spread it over a period of time where people can attend maybe easier than blocking out a whole week? And then the other thought I had was, this is a good representation of why virtual meetings or training are going well, because we have someone from Stockholm, someone from Brazil, we have someone from St. Louis, we have people from all over the world, and you wouldn't necessarily always get this when you bring a group together for a week of training. You get who can get off at that time and come, and this just opens the door to so many more individuals who are passionate about learning and passionate about coaching.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up, Beth. I would totally agree. One of the things we gain is the whole world, sort of, and that's really fascinating to me, that we can do that. Your other question on the training, spreading it out, those of you, what are you doing now? How has that shifted for you, or has it?
Cynthia, what does that look like at CTI and CCRC?
Yeah. So at CTI, absolutely. We all of a sudden, people are being able to take our courses that are from, there was a guy on a sailboat in Bali who was taking a fundamentals course, it's like, okay. So it really does open us up to the world. It's cost savings in many ways because of the travel and stuff like that. And at the same time, we're finding that how important it is to have a person who is our tech lead, our main pilot for Zoom, so that we don't have to handle all of the breakout sessions personally, and all learn how to do that. So yes, yay for opening things up. There are a couple little challenges that I haven't heard yet. One is that not only do when we train coaches, it's not just we work with the whole body. And so to get people away from the camera to explore in that way can be a bit of a challenge, right? Because they feel silly or whatever. And another thing that happened, I was leading a course where I accidentally insulted someone and didn't mean to do that. And he clicked his button and he was off. He was gone. And so it was the kind of thing that in a course room, we could have easily cleaned up. I could have gone over, said, I'm so sorry, let's talk about this, I apologize, let's work this out. But in that moment, I couldn't, right? And so that actually has us, there is more front-end design around, okay, we might accidentally say something that upsets you. If that happens, stick around, or please, we can talk on a break or something like that, so that it's not just you know, I'm out of here. I mean, by the way, we were able to clean it up with him after the fact, but it was shocking in that moment, you know, for both of us.
It's easier to get out of that room than a physical room.
Right? I mean, just done, right? So,
Cynthia, are you still doing like 3-day trainings, or has that changed?
we're still in piloting and beta formation. So we're trying 3 days. My husband, David, is right in this moment in his office, starting a 3-day course. We're doing it 3 days. Our normal structure was 3 full days, right? And we've reshaped the courses to be 5 days, shorter sessions.
Got it.
So at this moment, we're trying them both to see how the market's responding. One other piece that we're enjoying about it is that we're having courses in 4 different time zones. So people, for example, one of our leaders who lives in Hawaii is now able to lead a course in Singapore this weekend.
Yep. Cool.
Right? Stuff like that.
Yes.
Yep.
Sorry, I just had a question to Cynthia. Have you changed the price for the courses?
Not substantially, just a little, just maybe a little bit, but really not much.
Yeah. Hey, Susan. Yeah.
One thing I found interesting is that, and this is a COVID specific, since everybody is working at home now, it has given us flexibility about how frequently we're going to meet. So always before we met once a week, but now we're meeting twice a week because everybody's at home. And they like that option of meeting twice a week and, making the time they spend a little shorter. So I found that fascinating.
Yeah. Interesting. I'm curious about Zoom. I mean, I spend a lot of my life on Zoom now, but usually it's several different calls, throughout the day. And I'm curious, Cynthia or others, if you're still doing all-day training on Zoom, I'm assuming it's Zoom, like how many hours is too much?
That's a great
in one day, I don't know if we don't have the answer to that, but I'm curious about that.
Deborah looks like she has
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm doing 3-day conferences, in person before, 8 hours a day, and then, trying to break them up into a half day. So we're doing now 4 hours. We're doing like a weekend and then the following weekend. I have a question. Maybe some of you know how to do a cohort with co-host with 2 people on the screen. With 2 members, I'm trying to figure out how to do that. I understand you can't do that with under 100 people.
Okay, I've got some thoughts for you here. So,
meaning like, you know what I mean? Like co-host with 2 people and then like me and another trainer as the leads. How do you do that?
Yeah. So 2, and I bet Sue has other thoughts on this. So one.
I want to spotlight one at a time too. Is the other thing, to be able it's tough to switch back and forth. I'd rather us both just be there and stay there.
Right, I bet. So 2 pieces. So one, when I first heard about doing even a 4 hours in a day, I was out of my mind. But what we have both found is that once you're in, because there's so many, at least at CTI, we do a lot of breakouts, we do a lot of different conversations, we do a lot of things. It's actually quite engaging, and it's not overly. It's okay, and so you can do an 8-hour day without it being just horrible. So there's that piece. The 2 people.
Oh, 1 second, if I could just interject, sorry. There was a piece that I forgot to add as well about the 4 hours is with a 1-hour break for lunch. And so really it's 2 hours and 2 hours with a 1-hour break in between. I just give people a chance to settle, breathe a little bit, go to the bathroom, eat, and then come back and come together. I did forget to say that, so it's not 4 hours straight.
Right, right. But one of the things that we're finding, and Sue, I would love your thoughts on this, or anybody else who does this, is that what can happen on Zoom, and Jason, maybe you have some other thoughts on this, is that when let's say we come back into, everybody's been in a breakout, and now we come back together on screen. In order to get the two main leaders to the top, what you do is you get everybody back and have everybody turn off their camera just a moment, stop their video, and then when they turn it on again, they will be positioned between the two leaders at the top. So that's what we found to be fairly effective.
Yeah, it's kind of we kind of do that too. Like if we do a demonstration and we just want the coach and the client, we ask people to turn their videos off, and then to put it on gallery view so they see both the coach and the person at the same time. But it's not Zoom hasn't quite figured it out yet, so who knows. But that's a good workaround for sure. I'm looking at our time here, and this has been a fascinating conversation and really helpful. And before we go, I'm just curious about, I'm assuming that lots of you use Zoom, you're here today, but I'm wondering, what are the other technologies out there that you're utilizing for coach training or coaching? I heard Slack's one. Is there anything else out there that you've stumbled across that has been a good tool? Deborah?
Yeah, I don't know if anybody uses GoReact at all. It's part of like a really good assessment tool. That's one thing. And then many others, there's technologies that you can use, very creatively, but I really like the idea of being able to shut off the camera when there's two people. I really like that you guys shared that. I mean, there's lots of like creative artworks and such things that we can use, like a heart and stuff like that we can do.
Yeah. Like
half and half. That's just one idea.
At CRR, we're using something called Jamboard. Jamboard, where because Zooms work, so we have people. Basically, you can pull up a little sticky note, and everybody puts their name on a sticky note, and you can do some different constellation work and show some systems information.
Yeah, interesting.
But Deborah, would you say again the name of the first technology you brought up?
It was GoReact, right?
Would somebody type
yes,
that into
GoReact.
I don't know how. I'm not.
I mean, you do have to pay for the service.
Right.
You can use, as a competency to pay for the videos in there. We do make little stories and things along with GoReact, and then you can share with the individual what we suggest. It does save a lot of time. Because then you can like point to specific comments during the video in the time during the coaching activity of where they can improve. So you can pinpoint that comment. And so it's a really amazing tool.
Nice. Thank you.
All right, y'all. Well, I am going to bring this breakout to a close. This is definitely fascinating. And I don't know about you, but I'm curious about, would a conversation like this be helpful for you as an ACTO member once a quarter, something like that? Is that something that would be useful? I'm seeing head yes and okay. Because it's always changing. That's the thing about technology is I have people come to me like, oh, you know about this, right? No, I don't know about this because it's new for me, so it's always changing. So, okay, cool. That's good to know. I'm going to close this. And so we'll see. We'll have about 55 seconds left. So any other parting shots. Parting shots before we.
Here they come.
Everybody else.
Here they come.
Do we have to click back in?
No, we never went to a breakout. We just stayed in the main session. So.
Okay. All right.
I think, were you in the technology session? Okay. Well, some of you have come back. That's good. We've got waiting for a couple others here. There's Jody. You came back. Thank you for coming back.
Sure.
You got sucked back into the main room vortex of Zoom. Looks like, is Begum's group back yet?
Yes.
I think Begum.
Yes. Okay. Wonderful. Well, I don't know about your groups, but we had a really interesting conversation in the virtual training technology conversation. And so what we'd like to do here as we wrap up is take a few minutes for each group to report back what surfaced in the conversation, or what are the threads that seem to be most important as you talked. And so Begum, are you okay if your group goes first in the report back session?
Yeah, sure. I'm cutting in and out, so I'm hoping you can hear me.
Okay. I can hear you. It is cutting in now just a little bit. If you might want to just take your video off and see if that strengthens the audio.
Hear me? Can you hear me?
No.
Okay. All right.
I can hear you now.
Vikram, I think. Okay, good. Okay.
Yeah,
So we
that's
had, great conversation, just not enough time at all to get into anything very, very deeply. But, we talked about, in terms of mental health and working with mental health challenges ourselves and our clients, is really to pay attention to compassionate listening, silence, and really being present with our clients, checking our assumptions all the time, being really curious about our clients, and asking ourselves, what will we be? Rather than what will we do, what will we be? And invite radically different insights for ourselves and our clients. We talked a little bit about, coaching within the individualistic model versus what it might look like, thinking or coaching systematically or systemically. And how can we shape public policy? How can we change the circumstances in which our clients live and work? And again, there just wasn't enough time to get into that. But it was really about deepening our connection, our vulnerability, the compassionate listening, and who will we be in connection with our clients. Please add to that, members from the mental health group.
I think the one thing I would add is just the importance of self-care along the way, and being able to be present to and manage our own emotions. I think one person in our group said it eloquently about having healthy outrage rather than letting it debilitate us as coaches as well as our clients.
Yeah. Wow.
Thank you, Anne.
Yeah, nice. Thank you, Anne. Anybody else from that group? All right, thank you, Begum, for that. And yeah, I think our group felt a little bit the same of we were just kind of getting going. And so I think that might lead us to some further development of these focus groups or communities of practice. So, hey, Jody, you want to tell us the secret sauce to marketing?
Absolutely. Well, we had a nice small group. There were 3 of us, so it gave us a chance to really get in a little bit deeper, which is the reason that we're going to need 3 different or more sessions like this, Jason. Not that you have to do them all, but maybe. Anyway, For marketing, the thing that came up was looking at the messaging and the method. So what is the message we want to give to our students, our prospective students, so that we can bring them in and really talking about how to do it. As someone who's been doing this stuff for years, some of the things that came up, I like the idea that, hey, we record everything when we're on Zoom. You get to go back and actually process that information over and over again whenever you choose, and you don't get to do that in person. We talked about the scheduling and how people seem to be able to schedule more quickly, more easily, because they didn't have to worry about travel time and extra expenses, things like that. And then, of course, the piece that sort of runs into all three areas that we're here today is the establishing trust and safety, cultivating trust and safety, is how do we help people to be comfortable in that virtual space? And different ways to manage it is, first of all, to have guidelines around what you would do virtually. Jokingly, just don't show up in your pajamas, otherwise everything's okay. And if someone's emotions really run away with them, which happens in coach training, you can shut your camera off for a bit. Make sure everybody knows how to manage it. Step away. One of the things that Marguerite mentioned was in a group that she heard of training through a friend, is that they took breaks, 5-minute breaks every hour, and then they made sure they had a half-hour break in the middle, and they went back, so that they were really doing a lot of self-care. And I think that's the fear for people. Well, how can I sit in front of this camera? So talking about how to shift it and looking at breaking it into chunks that are reasonable for your training program and reasonable for your cohort. So a lot of that is kind of try it out, but some people were saying, yeah, we could do a whole day or multiple days as long as we took lots of breaks. And for others, it's spreading it out over a longer period of time. So letting people know the benefits and that they're still going to get the quality and the attention that they need when it's virtual.
Nice. Wonderful. Thanks, Jody. Any other threads from the other folks in that group that you want to make sure we mention?
This is Melissa. I really appreciated the conversation to do a little bit of brainstorming. So this is a great format. Thanks.
Great. Wonderful. All right. Well, our group looked at virtual training and most had done some before COVID, and now all have done some after COVID. So it's definitely a reality. One of the questions we got into was just, what do you get? What do you gain? What do you lose? And a big piece of what is lost is that the in-between times, when you're in person and it's a break and people get to talk with each other, or they come up and talk with you as faculty and you build those relationships. Even like at the ACTO conference, Cynthia was saying the in-between times of when we get to know each other. And so that's one of the things that's lost, but there's on the heels of that, there's all the folks in my group are coming up with these creative solutions to make up for that. And Håkan over there, he said that he'll do breakouts where it's, okay, go grab a cup of coffee and you're going to be in a breakout with one other person. And so they'll come get their coffee and sit, and then in a breakout. And so you finding ways to create that space that you lose with Zoom or other technologies. So there's lots of creative solutions out there to make up for those parts of things that we lose because of the technology. And then the gains, we get to be with people from all over the world. And it's pretty cost effective. You don't have to travel. You can travel to your bedroom. And also there's more bathrooms are available because everybody has their own bathroom. So the breaks can be shorter, I guess. There's some cost savings. And then there was that was the question too. Do you still do an 8-hour day? And some are doing that. but mixing it up, making sure you have breakouts, make sure you have movement, body movement, so they're not just looking at the screen. And so there's some creative folks on this forum today for sure, and how they use technology. Obviously, I don't know if you know about Slack. It's a form of communication. GoReact, Jamboard. There's lots of stuff out there, and there's always things, new technologies that are coming up. See you, Cynthia. So we had a good conversation. I think we just kind of got started. Anything else from my group that I missed? Big threads? Cool. Yes.
Question is, are the people in your group all using Zoom as their primary delivery technology?
Yeah.
I see, yes. Anybody using something other than Zoom as their primary? Nope. Yep, there you go.
Good, thank you.
Hakan?
I have another question. I wondered if it was possible to do the recording in the breakout rooms.
Oh, thank you. Was it? Okay, cool.
Yes.
Great. So we'll be able to post those recordings.
Good to know that it's possible as well.
Yeah, we did learn something about Zoom today.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, I'd like to kind of close this up, and you know, one of the things that we want to do as a board is to listen and to do things like this that meet you where you're at. And me as a coach trainer too, I need these conversations. And so moving forward, I hope you will join us in the conference here in 8 days. And so this is a good warm up for that. And as we move forward, you know, it seems like there's energy around these topics. And so we are toying around with the idea of creating communities of practice around important topics like this.
Good.
We are volunteer-led, as you know, and so we might be reaching out to you and seeing if you would be interested in helping facilitate one of those communities, maybe once a quarter. And I always find it really interesting, you know, the wisdom really that is here in the group and tapping into it. Because in the technology one, I learned 3 or 4 really interesting things that I'm going to try with our coach training. And so if you're interested in being one of the facilitators of those groups, I'd love to hear from you, and we might be reaching out to you as well. So Vikram, you got anything else that you want to say before we say goodbye for today?
I want to say a big thank you to Begum for anchoring this with me and agreeing to be here. And we acknowledge that there were 9 of us who wanted to talk about mental health. That was very encouraging. So we're going to keep this conversation going.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah, thank you too for hosting that. And Jody, thank you for hosting the marketing. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you all in about a week at the conference. And other than that, have a good rest of your day, evening, Friday night. And we'll see you soon. Be well.
Thanks, everyone. Take good care.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Well done.
All right, ciao, ciao.